just give you a little bit of background on the reason why we decided to have this programming every year on financial literacy and why we wanted to focus on youth for this family legacy through financial literacy. It's more than about money. It's about wealth. It's about building your family's wealth. Wealth of all types of resources, educational resources, your family history, your family's legacy, entrepreneurs in your family business, succession planning, who is going to take the leadership of your family. Very important. Oftentimes, especially in minority groups, we don't think ahead of how we are going to continue our families through proper leadership. We just assume that maybe the oldest person in the family becomes the leader of the family, when perhaps there may be someone else in the family who has a different skill set, who would be more appropriate person to lead the family. So those are some of the things that we need to think about early in life rather than later. When you start going to college, when you start your first jobs, as you start your careers, building family wealth is a comprehensive endeavor for us. It's something for us to think about that's more than just money. Money is important. Money is a big question. The biggest question is, how can I get more of it? Can I have more of it? I need, those types of things. But financial literacy is important to our family legacies, and we want to emphasize that tonight for you. Mr. Pittman is an entrepreneur. He is the founder, chief of WRP's Innovations, LLC. He's published 17 books on various topics. He's quite capable of giving you some information and guidance and advice on family wealth and financial literacy. He is the pastor of Solid Rock Baptist Church in Blytheville, Arkansas. And I would like for you to welcome Pastor Wintrell Pittman.
One of the things that I was telling my children when they were growing up is that whatever you do, be mindful of how you acquire credit. And when you get that credit, don't overextend yourself. In other words, don't get more credit than you're able to pay for. One of the things and one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of young people make, as soon as they get a credit card, they go out and buy stuff they don't really need, just to impress other people, clothes and shoes. These things depreciate. What you want to do is you want to put your money where things will increase in value and not lose value. One of the things that I told my son, which I think is very, very important, is that when you get out on your own, don't try to live too high. One of the things you can do, you would be surprised. Go out, find you a decent apartment, but you don't have to have new furniture. You can go to yard sales, Carnegie, Germantown, get real nice furniture for little or nothing. That's in contrast to taking a credit card or signing up for credit at a place, a company like Royal, anywhere else, and then you have not only expensive furniture, but you got interest on top of that. Whereas you could go get something even more expensive at a yard sale for about $100, $200. That's it. No interest, and you actually own it. And that's another thing. Ownership is very, very important. And going back to what I was telling my son, try not to live in an apartment too long. Buy you a nice little house. The reason for that being is that when you own real estate, that increases in value roughly 5% per year. Most people think, oh, it's cheaper to rent, it's cheaper to rent. And what you're actually doing is you're actually purchasing a property that somebody else is owning and getting the money off of. And young people need to understand that it's very important for you to own. And I suggest just buying something that you can afford. Get your education, get you a nice job, stay there for a couple of years, move on somewhere else and then rent that out. And what you're doing is you're building wealth. Building wealth is more important than shoes and clothes and cars, because all of that loses value. A car loses value as soon as you drive it off the line. That's just like throwing money away. My point is, all you want to do is get from point A to point B without being broke. I see a lot of young people, this is so funny in school. They're dressing fancy, they got tattoos, they spend a lot of money on their hair, their nails and things like that, but they're not investing in anything, they're really not trying to get an education because they're so busy trying to look cool. Now, this is what happens. That child that may be struggling financially, but he's going about his business, he's getting his education. Give them about 6 or 7 years, they're going to graduate from college, they're going to get a good job, and then the same child that was struggling and dressing a little shabby will start to moving up in the world. And that person that was dressing good in high school, if they didn't get a good education, while one is going up, the other will be going down. I read Booker T. Washington's biography, and I was so impressed with how he struggled to get an education. But he was humble and understood the value of working with your hands also. So what he did is he actually had his students to get up early in the morning to help build the school, because he didn't want those with a college education to look down on those that work with their hands. Getting a trade is also another alternative to college. And let me say this to you. It is great to have a skill. And in the state of Tennessee, as you all well know, you can go to a 2-year institution or a technical school free of charge. Whereas if you go on, and there's nothing wrong with getting a college education, but remember, you're probably going to acquire a lot of debt. You're probably going to get a student loan, and you're going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. Whereas if you get a skill, electrician, plumbing, welding, all of those are really, really good jobs that will pay the bills and pay them immediately. And so what you want to think about as you get your education, do I really want to go to college? If I do, how will this profit me? Am I willing to wait 4 years? If I want to go into the medical field, do I want to stay in school that long and acquire that much debt? Think about it. You go to a 2-year institution, get your degree, get your skill, out in 2 years, and immediately start making money. Anybody have any questions or any comments?
You said something about moving on from your first job. How many years would you recommend for? What amount of time would you recommend to end that first job when you move on?
I would say 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years, so you can build a history. You want to prove to an employer that you have some stability. That's very important. If they see you shifting from job to job, and I'm thinking, wow, we can't really depend on this guy.
You made a good point about going to college, making the decision to go to college, or making the decision to pursue some vocational training and move in a direction to position you to be able to immediately start a business or go to work. And the one thing that I personally think is so important, especially for young people, but for everyone, is to have options. A lot of times we limit ourselves because we just look at one particular avenue and we don't take the time to explore, well, what else is out there? How can I do this? Like you said, if you decide to go to college, then what are my options? There may be numerous other options that you can pursue where you may not incur the debt. You may be able to get scholarships that you weren't aware of. There may be all types of options. If you choose a vocational route, you may also have other options that you may not be aware of. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, as an entrepreneur, how do you feel that you were prepared going into starting your own business or how did your educational or vocational training help you as an entrepreneur? And how would you advise these young people who may have some innovative ideas just like what you have, who would love to go and start their own business? Maybe they're cosmetologists, maybe they work with some type of digital product or something. What would you recommend? Can you give us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, that's a lot of help for entrepreneurs, especially the city of Memphis. The government sponsors several programs right here in the city of Memphis. I don't know if you ever heard of Emerge Memphis, and then I think it graduated to Startup. And what they do is they actually have workshops. They don't charge you anything, where they tell you the ins and outs of business. One of the most important things about starting a business is developing a business plan. In other words, have an idea of what you want to do and how you're going to get there. Research it, put the information on the paper, and then that way, when you're prepared that business plan, you may be able to get funding from people that you never had any idea you could get funding from. However, I suggest always try to get free money. Don't let a loan be your first option. You would be surprised how much free money is out there for you to start businesses. That's very important. Just do the research, just go on the website. I tell my kids, you Google everything else, why don't you Google the business part? And you would be surprised at how much money there is out there. And then also you can go online and you can do things on the internet to help build money, also GoFundMe and things like that. Indigo, I think, has a page, and that's just so many options out there that was not there when I started my business. Believe me, the less money you can spend starting out, there's always somebody who's done what you're trying to do. Get with them. Build relationships with people that are going where you want to go and doing what you want to do. And I can't stress enough how important it is to build relationships with people that are moving forward or have accomplished what you want to accomplish. You don't have to rebuild and do everything from scratch, right? You can get with somebody and say, you know what, let me volunteer work. Learn the ins and outs of business, and sooner or later, let me say, you know what, I want you to work with me full time, and then you can learn from them how to do your business. Very important. Yes.
Okay, so I went to have my own medical lab. I'm in the medical field. I am a certified medical assistant now, and I've already had a certification in medical office work. I'm a college dropout, so which is why I entered myself back into the program too.
Okay, great.
And I'm 26, so I just feel trapped because it's hard to get back into school once you've dropped out and you have a lower GPA than 2.0. My question is, do you think it's a smart decision to try to just get into any school that I can, or should I just, I don't know if I'm going on the right track or what I'm trying to do. I want to have my own lab. That's what I'm trying to do. I want to.
But in order to do that, I'm just saying you need to breathe your head.
Yes, I feel like I should still keep trying. Like I've been in school, I've gotten accepted to ICC, so I'm trying to start over with a 2-year college and then move myself into.
I think that's a great idea. And the reason why I say that, believe me, you're now, how old are you?
26.
26.
Well,
Guess
I'll
what?
be 26 or 25.
I got my master's in 2016. I got my bachelor's in 2012. The first year I started college was 1978. So you are never too old.
So I would like to give the floor over to Sheri Neely and welcome her.
And I wanted to address this beautiful lady right here. What's your name? Brittany. Brittany. I just want to say that I was in a similar situation. I actually was a college dropout. And you're looking at someone who now has her MBA and, a successful business. So I want to say that do not give up. You are right, do not give up, because I was in a similar situation, but I surrounded myself with people that were able to guide me and direct me and motivate me. And so that's the same thing. I'm sure you have people in your circle that can do that for you. So just stay on that track and stay with that same mentality and that same energy, and you will make it, and you will have your own business. I'm claiming it right now in Jesus' name.
Questions for Sheri?
What was the process? Like, how did you start?
Well, I was in corporate America. I started out in sales in corporate America, working at a telephone company. How many of those guys are too young? But I was a person that would call you to try to get you to change your telephone service over from one long distance company to another company. I was that girl. So I learned everything that I needed to know about sales and how to sell myself. With working with that company, because we had all kinds of training classes. So that was kind of like my foundation. So, and I made a lot of money doing that. So I was in my early 20s making a lot of money. And then I transitioned to a couple of other companies, but I was making more money than some of my friends that had college degrees. So I was like, why do I need a college degree, you know? So, but then I got to a point where I don't want to get into too many details without making, saying too much, but I got to a point in my life where I worked for a company that I was like, okay, I thought I had arrived, right? I was working for a company, had a corporate credit card, $10,000 credit limit, had expense account, all this, making a lot of money, but just put it like this, I encountered some racism and some sexism and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, never again. So at that point, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and get my degree and start my own business. And that was my goal, and that's exactly what I did. So it took something like that happening in my life to say that I'm not gonna do this. I'm no longer going to be in corporate America. It's not for me. That's not what I wanna do with my life, the rest of my life. And so basically from there, I ended up getting my degree, and I thought I was gonna have, my goal was to have like an entertainment law/PR firm, so I was off to law school, but I ended up going in a different direction and using my journalism degree to work in journalism, or actually in the field of PR in LA. And so I felt like, okay, you know what, I was in law school, but I said, you know what, I want to use my degree in PR because I'm in one of the top markets in the country, which was in LA. So I did that. I worked for a top African-American firm, and I learned everything I needed to learn to start my own business. So, and my father got ill, and back home in the South, in Arkansas, and I ended up having to come back to the South. And so, so now I'm here, but I still have all the knowledge. I still had everything I needed to start my own business, and things happened where I was able to catapult it and just really get where I needed to be in my business, and to have the accounts, which Withers Collection is one of them, to have the accounts and have some amazing clients, and to just, be where I am today. So I thank God for it. But yeah, it was, some things had to happen to put me where I am today. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I thank God that I'm not. And it's nothing against corporate America. Corporate America is great for certain people. It just wasn't for me, and that's just how my story went, the chapters in my book went. So yeah.
Excuse me. What are some hardships of having a business?
Oh my goodness. Money. That's definitely the biggest one you're going to come into. So y'all are young. I know y'all younger than me. The most important thing is credit. Keep your credit on point. Don't let your boyfriend, your mama, your girlfriend, your daddy, and nobody run your credit up. You know, get credit cards in your name, get a car in your name. You know, really, really take your credit and do what you need to do for yourself, but really monitor it on a regular basis and just try not to get into too much debt, and just try to really, because all of that is going to really matter when you get older, when you want to get a loan, get a small business loan, when you want to buy a house. Those are two most important things. Anybody can buy a car. Anybody will sell you a car. But getting a small business loan and buying a house, those are going to be the two hardest things that you're going to run into in your life. Just keeping it real, especially us being African Americans, just keeping it real. So your credit has to be on point. Of course, your income is going to be a big, important thing as well, but your credit is going to be probably the most important thing.
What type of business did you say you own?
I have a public relations, marketing, and advertising firm, and I also do casting.
So what type of things do you do?
I help my clients get on TV, in the news, in the newspaper. When you turn on the news and you see somebody's event covered, or you see somebody interviewing someone on a talk show, it's probably because I helped to get them there, or somebody like me helped to get them there.
And when you talk about money, you want to look at free money as much as possible.
Yes.
And I suggest to anybody that if you have a business idea, develop you an elevator pitch.
Yes.
An elevator pitch is when you give a 60-second synopsis of what your business is, what it does, and what you hope to accomplish. And you're trying to persuade people that have money that my business is worth investing in. Stand in the mirror, say it over and over again so that when you make that presentation, you will be so effective until it'll be hard for someone to turn you down. That's free money. Angel investors, there are people out there that have money that's willing to help upstart businesses if they can convince them that it'll be profitable for both of them. And there are also grants. One thing that a mistake a lot of people make is they go out there and they start an LLC. If what you're doing is something that's going to benefit the community, you may want to look into start a nonprofit, 501c3.
You said
501c3.
A nonprofit organization.
Nonprofit organization.
So when you say, okay, I worked for a clinic, it was a free clinic where it didn't matter if you didn't have insurance or if you were homeless, you could go to that clinic and you could see a doctor and they would care for you, something like that. I would like to see, is that what you mean?
That would be something I think that would be a nonprofit. As a matter of fact, I was talking about resources. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of SCORE. SCORE is a very good resource. They just had a class on how to start a 501c3 with Marilyn Mays. And it was an hour long. He gave quite a bit of information. He had slides. And in some of those workshops, they actually give you handouts, they give you contact information, so that if you have questions, you can ask. Always try to get free money first. Then if that doesn't work, your credit is still always important, even in 501c3. Because if you can't handle your own money, the government may not trust you to handle theirs.
Yeah, and when he says free money, he's referring to nonprofits. It's kind of hard to get free money if you have a for-profit business.
Exactly.
It's really hard to find a grant for that. They'll probably do matching grants where you come up with a certain amount of money and they'll match it. Or as he was saying with investors, investors will, if they invest in your company, they are going to expect either their money back or return on their investment.
Partial.
You know, a percentage of ownership, equity ownership. So yeah, just keep all of that in mind as well.
Any other questions?
I plan on starting a fashion design business. Do you have any tips for me?
Is that what you're passionate about? And one thing that I think, and I'm sure she'll agree, any business owner does, you want to go with something that you're passionate about, because there are going to be some ups and there are going to be some downs. If you're just in it for money, then you may give up. But if that's your passion, if that's something that you really want to do, then you'll stick with it. And I suggest, once again, there's a saying in business that your net worth is determined by your net worth. In other words, the people that you associate with will determine whether or not you'll be successful. There's a saying, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Hang around folks that are doing what you want to do. Pick up as much advice from them as you can. If you have to volunteer yourself sometime to help them out so that you can learn the ins and outs of the business, do so.
And I must piggyback off of what you said. That is exactly what I was going to say, actually. Mentors, and this is for any of you, whatever businesses you want to get in or whatever fields you want to get in, just be sure to have mentors in those fields and those careers, because that's really going to help you as you grow. And then these can be lifelong friends. I have people that were my mentors, 20 years ago, and they're still my friends. I can still go to them, and they will still, because they're older than me or whatever, I can still go to them for knowledge and for advice and for help. So that's very important, mentorship, mentors, and just writing down what your goals are, and setting a goal, setting a 5-year goal, setting a 10-year goal, and making sure that you're doing everything, you're taking steps every day, every week, every month to reach those goals. And yeah.
Yeah. What about and say inventor, like inventing something? How do you start from there? Like it was a
Being an inventor?
How would you
Oh,
start?
yeah. Do you want to take that one?
Yeah. Well, let's just say your invention. Mine is an athletic style, fitness style. And what you want to do is you want to find people that are in fitness. You want to find people that have products similar to yours. And you want to actually contact those people, let them know, say, look, I really could use you as a mentor. Ask them, is it okay? Sometimes what they require, they may say, well, if you take me to lunch once a month, we can sit down, you pay for it, of course. We can sit down and talk and they'll give you information. And another thing is that on the internet, go on the events and events, for instance. There's always something going on. If you find something that suits what you're doing, show up at that event. Ask questions. If they need business cards, give business cards. And then if they say, call me, call them. If you don't call them, that's on you. Relationships are one of the most valuable things you need in business.
I want to start my own work because you know, I want to know how I go about starting my own business and also get the music out of it. I love music. I love music entertainment business.
I would say you can go to school, take business classes. You don't even have to get a degree. You can go to continuing education. Continuing education usually lasts several months. You can take business classes, but let me tell you this, you're going to need some business sense if you're going to do business, because it's not anything that you can just naturally pick up. There are people who have done what you're trying to do. Learn from the experts who are already done it and put it in a book.
And you're in Memphis, right? We are the home place, the home of the blues, the birthplace of rock and roll. There's so many greats that have come out of Memphis. I mean, the list goes on and on. So there's plenty of programs here in Memphis that I can get with you afterwards and talk to you about. But there's plenty of programs in Memphis that can help you reach that goal. And I'll just leave it at that, because I go on and on and talk about that. But yeah.
And we on that.
Okay. Oh,
What if you're not from here? I'm not from here.
you're not from it. Do you live, but you live here? Are you going to stay here or are you going to move?
I don't know, I'm from North Carolina.
You're from North Carolina? What do you mean, what if you're not from here? Oh, so you can just get involved in organizations, go to networking events, get involved. I've been in so many things like leadership benefits, executive program, accelerator programs, just all kinds of things that the city offers, the city of Memphis offers, the SBA leadership program. There's so many different programs here in Memphis, and just every opportunity you can get, network, and that's what I've always done, and try to get as much information from people as possible. Ask questions, not just from people on panels, just people that you network with. Ask as many questions as possible, and try to get as much information as possible, because you never know who can help you along the way.
And the same thing, you don't have to live in Memphis.
Yes.
If you know where your passion is, wherever you go, find people that are doing that, contact them. If they have events, go to their events, let them know you're interested, and as you said, network and build relationships, and you would be surprised how far you could go if you just show that, hey, I'm passionate about this, I want to learn what you do. You'd be surprised people are willing to do that.
What are some positive ways to build your credit? Because y'all keep saying like credit is important, so just give us some tips and suggestions on how to like build your credit. If that's going through a loan, if that's whatever it is doing.
Get a small credit card and just pay it on time, or either buy something and then pay it off the next month. Always keep I think the debt thing's lower than 30%. Yeah, the debt to income ratio lower than 30%. So you always want to keep, so if you buy something, like if you buy something from a furniture store or something like that, buy something small and pay it off. Those things help because they report to your credit, to the credit reporting agencies, so credit bureaus. So you definitely want to do that, and you'll be surprised at how it will build your scores, and just like within a few months.
And also, don't pay it completely out. Like she said, get something small that you can manage. Because if you pay it off, then it's eradicated from your record. I mean, that sounds crazy that you would think
they want you to keep using it.
Yeah,
you got to keep using it and just paying it off. When I say pay it off, I mean use it and pay for it, and then use it and pay for it. They don't want you to.
Well, then you don't have a record once you pay it off.
Yes, they want you not to use it. You have to keep using it.
You should always keep something set aside. And when someone asks you for the money or asks you to do something, and you say, truthfully, I don't have the money for that. You have the money, but it's not for that. So you need to have money. You should always have some kind of money at all times. So that's something to work on. I think a good round number for that to start with, if you're just starting now, you start with 5, build it up to 10. But you should have $50 in your possession at all times, no matter what. You should have more, but you should, as young people, you should have a $50 bill somewhere accessible to you at all times. That's my advice to you right now. So I'd like for us to give our speakers